All right. This one is about June 1st, 2011. Oh yeah, and that. This was a day that was um, very important because May 24th, I believe it was. It was a Tuesday when the Nation Council meeting was originally scheduled to take place. They were going to pass the employee handbook, yeah, May 24th. Then it was later postponed to June 1st. And what had happened was is that um, the offices were closed when I drove by. Um, there were some papers on the windows. I didn't know what they said. There was no lights on. There was nobody in the parking lot. I believe the gates were even closed. And so then I had also seen over at the trailer behind Trading Lakeside Trading 2, um, state police vehicle and everybody else's vehicle, Clint's, Sharon's, and company. Um, they were all over there, and so I had drove over to the Holiday Inn to meet up with the rest of the council members, and then also to have a meeting with the state troopers, because we had called a week before, um, trying to get the pecking order of law enforcement at the time to also give them a heads up that this was like an internal matter, that there was no intention to be violent or anything like that. We're just merely going to the Cayuga Nation office building to have the Nation Council meeting. And so, knowing that you can't contain information and that it leaks out, no, we knew that Clint would know what was coming and what was happening, and so um, that he would reach out. And so, in anticipation of that, we had met with at the Holiday Inn with the state troopers to let them know what our intentions are, and had met with the sheriff's office and let them know what was going on, and so everybody knew what was going on, so nobody would get hurt. And so we about 10:30, 10:45, we left the Holiday Inn parking lot, drove up to the Nation offices. The parking lot was empty, and lights were off. Signs said office closed, and so there was no prior announcement as to the office being closed or that the Nation council meeting was rescheduled, postponed, or canceled. So everybody stood outside in the parking lot, and we had planned to have a Nation Council meeting regardless. And so I had ordered a tent, and the tent company had received some phone calls and enough enough phone calls to persuade them to pack up and leave. So setting up a tent was unsuccessful. That they had gotten a call from the office talking to Clint, and they had decided that no, it wasn't going to happen. So anyway, um, somebody went to go get some tents, some canopies, and then the sheriff showed up. The sheriff showed up, walked up to the front door, and lo and behold, the Nation Council or the Nation security person came up to the front door and unlocked the door. And the door was open, and so everybody moved to the door. There was no rush or fry bread riot or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? Um, Everybody kept their cool, and come to find out, there was more people inside the building, and that still personally, I didn't think that Clint would be inside. I think that I would have had myself out. I wouldn't even have locked myself in there in the first place because people can't get in without a key. It was locked, and if that was the case, everybody would have just went home. But he was inside, and people wanted to talk to him and wanted to have a nation council meeting. Well, that didn't happen. Um, he never came to the door. Only a few people came to the door, and but nothing was accomplished at the time. And so the doors were then closed, and they were left inside, and we were left outside. And both parties stayed inside, and the other party stayed outside, and there was no Cayugas to deliver um, supplies to Halftown and Company inside the office. He had to rely on non-native people and non-Cayuga people because unfortunately it's a sad story that there was no one out there that would have, you know, that was out there that he could call upon to help him. Everybody that he could have called upon was locked inside the building with him. And had he given me a call and said, Justin, can you order me some pizzas and stuff like that? Of course, would order, deliver some pizzas if you were hungry and stuff, and would have delivered them. I know I probably would have been, it probably wouldn't have been a popular thing for me to do, being outside the building, but, we are still brothers and sisters. We are still all Cayugas. And we always have to remember that. And still, in spite of somebody was writing something earlier about somebody's failures in government and stuff like that, but people do make mistakes and people do have failures and people still stumble and fall. And when those things happen, we have to help each other get up and help each other out. And so, had a call been made, saying, "Hey man, can you help me out with some food?" Of course, we'd help out with some food. Um, there is no animosity about this. Um, am I disappointed? Yeah, but get over disappointment. It's a lot more. It's a lot more. It's a better life to live if you can get past that and not be angry about any of that. So, um, but what happened on June 1st was they had locked themselves in. We had not uh, locked them in, or there was no riot, or there was no siege laid on the offices, or rushing the castle, and all those types of terms. I know it's been thrown out there, but um, if you've seen me lately, you know that I'm not as
Of a turtle, you know, not so fast. But that's what had happened. There wasn't a whole lot of excitement. I know there have been rumors about there was drinking going on outside, but there was no drinking. There was people's children out in the parking lot at times when it was time to eat, and there was people outside playing lacrosse, and people just waiting to meet with him, meet with Clint. But anyway, a nation council meeting was held. Um, Myself, Sam Campbell, Chuck Jacobs, Sam George, Chester Isaac, and who else was there? Yeah, that was it. We sat down and discussed. Had given an invitation to Clinton Halftown to dial in and be on a conference call and participate in the Nation Council meeting, but he had declined and didn't want to participate in it. And so the meeting was held, and it was resolved and discussed with, given the concerns and what has gone on for several years, um, that it was time to make a change and to solidify um, some desires to be united. And so we decided to relieve Mr. Halftown as his federal representative duties, along with Mr. Two Guns as the alternate federal representative. He was also
relieved as Klan representative, and so that's what the resolution contained. And I'm sure there's some places out there that you can get it, and if not, I'll make sure that there's a place where people can read that resolution. Um, and so that was submitted to the BIA to make them aware that there was a change in the federal representative. The new federal representative, it will be Chuck Jacobs, and as his alternate would be Sam George. And so that document was signed and recorded and then sent out. And that's what happened on June 1st. Um, there were some things that had happened in the evening, nothing serious, nothing of a serious nature or anything of a dangerous or harmful nature either. It was just, I know from the people on the outside, they had put up some curtains on the canopy to have some privacy, and then on the hour, every hour, they would make faces in the windows, and I think I had heard that that had agitated some people who were inside and gave them some concern. But all in all, what had happened on June 1st was there was no Nation Council meeting held by Clint Halftown. It was canceled. The offices were closed, and but a Nation Council meeting was held anyway, and Clint Halftown was invited. He declined. Resolution was made. Um, Made some changes in the federal representation. Again, that is not also very important either. Bottom line is that it falls back on members of the Klan. Um, the Haudenosaunee and the people of the Longhouse are follow a Klan system, and I know a lot of emphasis is given on the chiefs and the condoled chiefs and the chief system, and people had concerns about moving away from the. We need to move away from the chief system, and to some extent, it is true. People forget that the people, that the Klan members are the ones who hold the power. They are the ones who choose who their representatives are. And if at any time they become dissatisfied with their caretakers, then they have the right to make those changes. And that's just the way it is. And that's the way they keep peace. And those who have respect for it, you know, humbly and probably disappointed, um, you know, step away, move back, and let somebody else take a turn. And so that's the most important thing to remember is that if we ever forget that the Klan system no longer exists, then that's when we uh, get into trouble because it is the members of the Klan that hold the power and who have the right to pick who their caretakers are. And so I hope that sheds some light on what happens on June 1st, that it wasn't a fry bread riot or anything like that. So now that you see the light, you can stand up for your right. All right, we'll talk to you at the next clip.